Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You got to do what you got to do. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. You got to do what you got to do. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. You got to do what you got to do. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. You got to do what you got to do. Okay. Hopefully, I can be heard. Let me do a test and see if I can be heard as I go on and check on my. This is okay. This is not. Hopefully, I can be heard. Let me Okay, I can be heard. So let me keep going. I'm My apologies for the technical difficulties. It just is what it is. Sometimes, Facebook, we want to control the narrative. So I'm gonna keep going. Let me ignore all of that and move. My apologies again. I'm gonna say I'm sharing my screen and I'm gonna get going. So right here, you have the English word queen. It has Germanic and Old English roots. You see it, queen, Queen, but also has it as Quean. It's Old English, queen of Germanic origin, related to queen. So let's go and look further into queen. So right here is queen, says the female ruler or of an independent state, especially one who inherits the position by right of birth. He insisted the princess could be crowned queen. So let's go over to the other word, spelled a little bit different. It's Quean, but it's pronounced the same. Same pronounce. It says an impudent or ill-behaved girl or woman, a prostitute. Notice that it's Germanic, Old English, and basically, if you look at it, Germanic and Old English is not as old as biblical times. So this is a more modern term. More modern term. Let me come up out of here. So it's a more modern term. But again, when you look at the wives of the kings, you don't see that label being given to them. There's rarely something that's given to them. So let's go. What I want to start reading off is in Debris Hayamin Bait, or Second Chronicles 22. That's where I want to start at. So let me share my screen and let me keep going there. Let me get rolling. Mm-hmm. It says, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem set up Aziyahu, his youngest son, to reign in his place. So the prior king of Yahuda basically died of illness because he was wicked. And so his son, his youngest son, was set in his place to reign. It said, for the raiding band that came in with the Arabians into the camp had killed all the older sons. So all his brothers, his older brothers, were killed by the Arabians. So as the Yahu, son of Yahoram, sovereign of Yehuda, reigned. And as Ahaz Yahu was 42 years old. So this youngest son was 42 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 1 year. And his mother's name was Aftal Yahu. The English translation calls her Italia. the granddaughter of Omri. Omri was a king before, but this is the granddaughter. He too walked in the ways of the house of Ahab. So Ahab is the king of Israel, but this is dealing with Yahudah. It says, and Omri was the king of Israel, I do believe. So basically, this king of Judah or Yahudah has married someone that a descendant of the king of Israel. It said he too walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother counseled him to do wrong. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. And he also walked in their counsel and went with Jehoram, son of Ahab, sovereign of Israel, to fight against Hazael, sovereign of Aram, at Ramoth Gilead. And the Arameans struck Urim, and he returned to Israel to recover from the strikings with which they struck him at Ramah when he fought against Hazael, sovereign of Aram. And Azaryahu, son of Yaharam, sovereign of Yehuda, went down to see Yahoram, son of Ahab, in Yisrael, for he was sick. But from Elohim came the downfall of Ahaz Yahu, through his coming to Yoram. For when he came, he went out with Yehoram against Jehu, son of Nimshi, who Yahuwah had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. And it came to be that Yahu was executing judgment on the house of Ahab, that he found the rulers of Yahudah and the sons of Hazayahu's brothers who served Hazayahu and killed them. And he searched for Ahazyahu, and they caught him while he was hiding in Samaria. We know it as Samaria from our English teaching or our learning, but it's Shamaram. And brought him to Yehu and put him to death, then buried him. For they said, he is the son of Jehoshaphat, who sought Yahuwah with all his heart. So Jehoshaphat was a good king, but these other ones wicked, who sought with all his heart. And there was none in the house of Ahaz strong enough to reign. And when Athaliah Yahu, the mother of Ahaz Yahu, saw that her son was dead, she rose up and destroyed all the offspring of the reign of the house of Yahudah. So this woman, the mother of the current king, when she saw he was dead, she killed off all those that were in the line to become king. But Yehoshaphat, the daughter of the sovereign, took Joash. So this is one of the sons that's left. She didn't get this one, son of Ahaz Yahu, and stole him away from among the sovereign's sons who were slain, and put him in his nurse in a bedroom. So Yehoshaphat, the daughter of sovereign Yahoram, the wife of Jehoiada, the priest, because she was the sister of Ahaz Yahu, hid him from Athaliahu, so that she could not put him to death. And when he was hidden with him in the house of Elohim for 6 years. 6 years. While Athaliah was reigning over the land. So this woman, the mother of the king, when he died, she took the position. She became head over Israel. Now, as I mentioned before, Jezebel, wicked queen. Esther was not a queen over Israel. All the other wives of the kings were not mentioned as queen. This woman took the position after her son died by killing all of the ones that would be heirs after her son, except for one. So going over to 23. And in the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and made a covenant with the commanders of hundreds. Azariah, Azariah, son of Jehoram, and Ishmael, son of Jehohanan, and Azariah, Yahu, son of Obed, and Maasyahu, son of Yahu, and Elishaphat, son of Zikri, and they went about through Yehuda and gathered the Levites from all the cities of Yehuda and the chiefs of the fathers of Israel, and they came to Jerusalem. And all the assembly made a covenant with the sovereign of the house of Elohim. And he said to them, see, the son of the sovereign is to reign, as Yahuwah has said of the sons of David. So it's acknowledging that men, the sons of the sovereigns, not daughters, are supposed to rule. That the headship in the order is supposed to be a man. This wicked woman who had stolen the position by killing off the heirs, except for one, was out of place. I want anyone to show me a righteous queen in Israel that's of Israel. Not of course, Esther, if you want to label her a queen, though she was housed in the house of the concubines, she was not queen of Israel. That was Persia or Syria, or that Ahasuerus or Xerxes was not an Israelite. So he was king over that region. And if she became his queen, though it said she was housed in the house of the concubines, it would not make her queen over Israel. So was she even, was Esther even in the bloodline of Yehuda, far as the royal bloodline? I'm not, she was, of course, bloodline Yehuda, but was she in the royal bloodline? I don't know. But again, let's keep going. This is what you do. 1/3 of you entering on the Sabbath of the priests and the Levites, gatekeepers of the threshold, and 1/3 of the sovereign's house, and 1/3 of the gate of the foundation, while all the people are in the courtyards of the house of Yahuwah. And let no one come into the house of Yahuwah except the priests and those of the Levites who serve. They go in, for they are set apart. But all the people are to guard the charge of Yahuwah. And the Levites shall surround the sovereign on all sides, every man with his weapon in his hand. And whoever comes into the house, let him be put to death. And be with the sovereign when he comes in and when he goes out. And the Levites and all Yehuda did according to all that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And each man took his men who were to come in on the Sabbath with those going out on the Sabbath. For Jehoiada the priest did not dismiss the divisions. And Jehoiada the priest gave the commanders of hundreds the spears and the large and small shields which had been sovereign David's or David's that were in the house of Elohim. And he set all the people, every man with his weapon in his hand. from the right side of the house to the left side of the house, along by the slaughter place and by the house all around the sovereign. So you remember she killed all of the other heirs. They got this man guarded big time. And actually, he was a young boy. He was not adult age, like that. Because remember, his father was only in his 40s. So he was much younger. And they brought out the son of the sovereign and put on him the diadem and the witness and set him up to reign. Then Jehoiada, the sons and his sons anointed him and said, "Let the sovereign live. Let the king live." And Athaliah Yahu heard the noise of the people running and praising the sovereign. And she came to the people in the house of Yahuwah and looked and saw the sovereign standing by his column at the entrance, and the chiefs and the trumpeters were beside the sovereign. Trumpeters, shofar blowers, and all the people of the land rejoicing and blowing trumpets, shofars. Also the singers with the instruments of song, and those who led in praise. Then Athaliah Yahu tore her garments and said, "Treason, treason." And Jehoiada, the priest, brought out the commanders of hundreds who were set over the army and said to them, "Take her outside the ranks and slay with the sword whoever follows her." For the priest said, "Do not kill her in the house of Yahuwah. Don't kill her in the temple, but she gonna die." So they laid hands on her, and she went by the way of the entrance of the horse gate into the sovereign's house, and they put her to death there. She could claim that it was treasonous, but her killing off all the heirs, how's that not treason? This wicked woman, this queen. Let's go. Let's go over here. This queen, this impudent woman, this ill-behaved woman, this whore. All right, let me get back to it. Jehoiada then made a covenant between himself and the people and the sovereign to be the people of Yahuwah. And all the people went to the house of Baal and broke it down. They completely broke up its slaughter places and images and killed Matan, the priest of Baal, before the slaughter places. And Jehoiada put the offices of the house of Yahuwah into the hands of the priests, the Levites, whom David had assigned in the house of Yahuwah to offer the ascending offering of Yahuwah. And it was written in the Torah of Moshe with rejoicing and with singing by the hands of David. And he set the gatekeepers at the gates of the house of Yahuwah so that no one who was in any way unclean should enter. And he took the commanders of hundreds and the nobles and the governors of the people and all the people of the land and brought the sovereign down from the house of Yahuwah. And they went through the upper gate to the sovereign's house and set the sovereign on the throne of the reign. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city had rest, and they had slain Athaliah with the sword. So, again, I would challenge anybody to show me a righteous queen in Israel that was over Israel. Deborah was a judge, so I'm not talking about her. I'm asking for anyone to show me a righteous queen in Israel. So we can, basically put to rest this title queen and see that that title was not a title of honor within Israel. Other nations had queens. Other nations had been ruled by women. But when women ruled in Israel, had a hand in the play of the government or what was going on, such as with Jezebel, though, she actually was operating with her husband's authority. Ahab was the king, but all she did and was able to do, she had to use his authority because she was not the sovereign over the land. He was. But he allowed her to do and say and operate how she wanted to. Basically, didn't give much of a challenge to anything that she had to say. He allowed for her to, basically take land, do things, just wickedness, and he didn't never rein her in. He sat silent. You know, there's a law that speaks on basically if a woman makes a vow, if her father or her husband are silent, they agree with it. So he was in agreement with everything that she did because he sat there silent. If he didn't approve of it and didn't say anything, it still had his stamp of approval because he was the one that had the authority. Atalia, Yahoo, she eliminated anybody who could speak up against her. She got rid of all the heirs except for the one. And when they hid him away, got him prepared and propped up to be the king or the sovereign. And then once they acknowledged him as such, her reign was over. But show me anywhere, I challenge anyone to show me anywhere where there was a righteous queen ruling in Israel. There's never an emphasis of a queen in Israel far as righteousness. The two are not synonymous with one another. Righteousness and queen in Israel, you don't see it. Again, Esther was married to a sovereign of a whole nother nation, or she was a concubine of a sovereign of a whole nother nation. So you could try to use her, but she doesn't fit the narrative. You got Jezebel, you got Atalia. You got all these many wives of kings. David had many wives, but you don't see them ever labeled queen. But that was it. I just wanted to read that and go through that. Abiyah, thank you for this Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to bring forth some reading. May your word be honored always, and I accept any challenge that comes without insult. We can have a dialogue. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of friction. Iron sharpening iron is good, but we must also operate with respect and decency. Order and decency should always occur. So I thank you. Shabbat shalom and hallelujah. Have a good one.